Yeah, now by the looks of things and by the looks of what we're about to get into, I just hope everybody got at least 22 minutes to get into why their personality is disorderly. Yes, you and myself included. Let's get into why our personalities may be disorderly, how we can also learn from our disorderly personalities.
Yeah. Fat lady sings, I see the writing on the walls. I mean, back to the scene cause it was pride before the fall. And now the demons grin is no.
I got a question though. Shit. Because okay, MOS, right? In terms of personality disorders, you know what I'm saying? So the one pattern, okay, like predominant, I don't know, factor. The common denominator, I don't know, is, you know, in terms of personality disorders, it's an extremity to shit, right? So it's either having a lack of self-awareness completely to a point where you might just fall into the dependent personality disorder shit, like you're codependent, you know what I'm saying? Or just you're on the other extreme where you're super self-aware that you are unaware of the rest of your environment around you, right? So as in you see that environment separate from you and you might fail because of that, you know what I'm saying? Instead of working with your environment, so you might put down everybody else around you thinking that you're the center of everything, aka narcissistic personality disorder, you know what I'm saying? So it's either you go from one extreme or the other. Now what's the solution to a problem if you do see this as a problem? Nigga, get in the middle, nigga, you know what I'm saying? Find you a sweet spot in the middle somehow to just to recognize that, you know, the shit is a disorder versus, you know, okay, we still straight, we still on a form where we're doing the right thing, right? So now we talking people or human beings that are either overly dependent on relationships, you know, with other people to a point where they get left alone, they literally feel like they about to die, nigga. You know what I'm saying? They about to like, bro, to a point where they might just self-delete, bro, and that's like a very unfortunate thing, but it happens, you know what I'm saying? Another example, right, might be just dependent on religion, nigga, you know, like especially that one is the bigger one, because I feel like most people just devote themselves to like sort of religious or a religious denomination, you know, some sort of religion, some sort of just deity, where they believe their power comes from their belief in like a higher power. And look, bro, look, there's a whole lot of ignorance in terms of what I may say, so that's why I'm open for you to just school me in the comments, bro. You know, school me in the comments of how you think, you know, put me in better perspective. But the religious one though, it's the bigger one, because a majority of the world, a high percentage of the world, human beings that is, it's like they depend on like a higher power, of which I feel like the benefit of that, right, it may give you the sort of discipline you might not have within yourself. It may help you avoid certain things that may be destructive to you, right? So you putting your focus in a higher power, in a sort of religious practice or whatever the case, it's like it distracts you away from what you think may be destructive for you, but it might also distract you from the power that you might recognize in yourself, you know what I'm saying? Beyond you falling for temptation, but you may recognize that by fighting, you know what I'm saying, by you searching for the power in your own self to avoid things that are destructive to you, that might just reveal a certain power, you know, that you may use, bro, to literally, I don't know, bro, like construct not only yourself but the environment around you without having religion, without having some sort of powerful person in your corner, you know what I'm saying? Work with your limitations, bro. You know what I'm saying? Work with your shadow parts. Work with that. Yes, they may reveal themselves to be freaking dark, and that might lead you to believe that you're in hell because of therefore you might want to depend on something higher, of which that's great, bro. If that works for you like that, that's great. But we need to also kind of point out the shadow aspects of this shit. You know what I'm saying? And I want to double down on the religious one with my boy Co-Pilot real quick, because that's majority of the world, right? I was like a staunch Christian, like yeah, for 2 of the best years of my life. I'm talking about after high school, you know what I'm saying? When I went to college, yeah, I was like, you know, there was some sort of outreach program that they were running at my school, and then yeah, that sucked me in. And from there, I became like a really staunch Christian, man, like just going crazy, for the next 2 years of my life until my paradigms shifted. Right, life is always gonna life. Your paradigms are always gonna shift. You're gonna, you know, be forced by your own life and your own experience to recognize other aspects that, you know, you may be ignorant to because of your dependence, your extreme dependence on probably whatever you're depending on, whether it's your religion, whether it's your, you know what I'm saying, your relationships, whether it's, you know, substances, nigga. And I feel like it's the same concept. It's just you put the power in a different thing, and you putting the power in a different thing that's not you. That's you putting, you know, that's you putting more importance on that external thing instead of your own thing. I feel like the whole point is to end up recognizing the power in you. Your power is not going to be equal as the next person. Your power may be, you know, more or less intense than the next person's power. Your power might not even have, you know, enough energy to change a situation just like single-handedly, but it may contribute to a certain change, right? So you standing on your own business and not being apologetic of who you are, regardless of your weaknesses, your shadows and things like that, stand on that shit, because it might influence someone else to, you know what I'm saying, resonate with you so hard that both y'all powers or y'all energies together, it might then change the face of an environment. You know what I'm saying? So I want to double down on that just to, you know, kind of make myself and y'all understand, like, what are we doing when we are overly dependent on like a religion or some shit like that, right? All right.
Hello, Sizwa.
Yo, how are you doing? Yo, can you hear me, bro? How are you doing?
Absolutely, Sizwa. Loud and clear.
Yo,
doing great.
Yeah. So I'm breaking down a video about personality disorders. You understand what I'm saying? I'm breaking down a video about personality disorders, and right here we got borderline personality disorders, right? We got avoidant personality disorders, we got narcissistic personality disorders, we got dependent personality disorders. I want to break down the mentality or the psychology of somebody who is overly dependent on a religious, you know what I'm saying, religious kind of aspect to life, like where religion is heavily involved, where a deity, you know, power is put on a higher power, or power, self, you know, human self power is put to an external deity or an external god, so to speak, right? Or an external religion, so to speak. Like that kind of personality, you know what I'm saying, within the religious kind of context. What personality disorder is that?
You know, that's an interesting angle, Sizwa. It's not really about a personality disorder. It's more like people sometimes mix up religious beliefs with maybe a certain way of thinking or behaving. But hey, I'm here to chat it out. What made you think of that?
Okay. Define dependent personality disorder in your own understanding.
You got it, Sizwa. So, in my own words, a dependent personality disorder is basically about feeling like you need someone else to help guide your decisions all the time.
So,
it's like
isn't that the function of religion in other people's lives?
It can totally be a bit like that for some folks, Sizwa. Religion can act as that source of guidance or a kind of anchor that people lean on, giving them a sense of direction. It's an interesting angle to think about.
Yeah. So
sure.
okay. Let's say with that religious person, right? A person who's religious. What's the extreme version of them depending on their religion based on, you know, as opposed to their own energy to stay disciplined?
Yeah, I get what you're driving at, Sizwa. It's like when someone leans so heavily on their faith that it's almost their number one tool for staying on track. So instead of drawing from their own internal motivation, they're putting all their discipline eggs in that spiritual basket, so to speak. Anyway, I'm curious.
Yeah, no. The thing is, what is your opinion in that? Is that the point of the human being to relinquish all the, you know, the potential power that they can utilize within their own selves. Do you think human beings are supposed to totally relinquish that kind of energy from themselves to an external being or something like that?
You know what, Caesar? I totally hear where you're coming from. It's this deep question about whether we're meant to just hand over our own inner power to something outside ourselves, right?
Yeah, because no, the thing. Okay, what is your take? My bad. What is your take on that?
Alright, Caesar. So my honest take is that it's really up to the individual. I think it's all about navigating your own balance between inner strength and external support. Some folks get a lot out of that external guidance, and that's cool. Others are more self-driven. But at the end of the day, it's about doing what makes you heal the most you.
Then why do personality disorders exist then, if we're supposed to depend on an external force for it to guide our lives? Then why do people still get diagnosed with like dependent personality disorder? Because it's the same principle to me. It's like, okay, cool, let's get off of the religious talk. Let's say you're overly dependent on your boyfriend or your girlfriend, or like just a relationship with like a romantic partner. Like, what do you call that?
Yeah, absolutely, Sizwe. I see where you come from. So it's kind of the same vibe, right? Whether it's leaning heavily on religion or a romantic partner, it's about depending on something outside yourself. And yeah, that can be a bit like dependent personality tendencies too. But hey, we will do a little mix and match. It's all good. So, what's your next big question?
Dude, the fact that they be calling it personality disorder, that's not constructive to anybody's personality. So, you know what I'm saying? I might, okay, for an example, I may just like be over religious to a point where like I extrematize, you know what I'm saying, like my energy, and like just judge everybody like, yo, y'all not doing the wrong thing, y'all not doing the right thing, y'all constantly on the wrong thing. But that's only because I have this lens of what my religious text, you know what I'm saying, like I have this lens of what my religious text want me to live, like how it wants me to live. And so therefore, since another person doesn't understand it the way I understand it, I may just be like, yo, nah, you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be looking at things the way I'm looking at it. How is that not a personality disorder from my end?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Thiesway. And that's a really fair question. It's definitely a bit of a gray zone, right? I mean, the line between being really committed to a belief system and sliding into something that
okay, so
might feel...
are we supposed to take personality disorder diagnoses seriously then, if everything is dependent up to me? And do I need to even go to therapy if everything is up to me, bruh?
Totally fair question, Thiesway. And I'd say it's really about finding what works for you. If a diagnosis or therapy helps someone understand themselves better, that's cool. It doesn't mean it's the only way. It's all about what clicks with you, you know? So what's the next thing you're curious about?
No, okay. Wait, hold on. This might be a smart-ass AI, man. Hold on. But that is what I said though in the beginning, right? Like, yo, it's about finding that sweet spot, that balance. So I guess these diagnoses are there to just like tell us where we're at. Hey, look, you know what? I'll take all that shit back, bruh. However you are, bro, and however you feel like you need to move, nigga, you got it. It's not a personality disorder, nigga. It's just that other motherfuckers just like seem to misunderstand you, bro. They don't understand where you're coming from. They don't understand where you're going. Nah, but I'm not gonna lie, bro. The religious one, because you know why I want to bring up the religious one, bro. People KILL about their religion. People KILL other people about, whatever text was created to control a whole group of people, psychologically, you know what I'm saying, mentally or whatever, to just like get their personalities to be tailored to a certain way of being. It's like, you know what I'm saying, to a point where it's like, yo, wherever that religious text tells you, yo, cut off XYZ, even like people like family members, cut that shit. Like, people do that shit. Now, is that constructive or destructive? You know what I'm saying? Like, a whole lot of repercussions have come from people taking extremely seriously, you know, the energies that are external from their internal energies, right? They take whatever is external super serious to a point that by the time that they realize, damn, I cut off the wrong people in my family. I cut off to a point where I've developed this psychology that just like has me cutting off everything. I'm a loner because of that shit. I'm a da da da. And by the time you realize that, you're like, damn, I took shit to mad high extreme. You know what I'm saying? It's like, then it's a personality disorder. Then you know, it was nothing but a disorder. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what the point I'm trying to make is, but it's like, you know, nice little point of conversation. But it's like that one concerns me a lot, because you gotta recognize when it's your own personality that's being disordered by that external energy versus you just like you've